So a teacher allegedly from Wolfe Middle School in Center Line, Michigan, has called a student a mutt. Now, this came to an enormous amount of uproar, and rightfully so. The student named Kaden Brown was sitting in class when his language arts teacher looked at him bluntly and asked, "Are you a mutt?" Now, this is something that the kid, Kaden Brown, went home and reiterated to his father, not really aware of what it was that was being directed to him, and his dad took to Facebook to show his outrage to this. So this is the post. The picture itself is what he posted with his son, basically saying, "I am not a mutt," and then he went on to say this. So it's a long quote. I can kind of break it down in the essential parts basically here. He said, "Being called a mutt left my son, my heart, and joy feeling like he meant nothing, that he was less than nothing," he wrote on October 13th. He even went home and asked his mother, "Why can't I be all white?" He went on to say, this teacher made my son feel dirty, calling him a mutt, a dog with no identity who doesn't belong. I am outraged. This racist behavior should not be allowed in our schools. Our children should not be faced with this BS, especially in the classroom, from people that we, parents, entrust our children's protection. So this eventually got shared around, went viral, and it led to a Twitter hashtag, which I think is still growing. I want to try and maybe push for this to be shared a little bit more, is that people are saying hashtag I am not a mutt to show their pride in their mixed race identity. And here's a couple of those tweets that are going around. So this is heartbreaking, simply because, I mean, it's heartbreaking in any instance where someone is basically racially abused in a certain way, but it's kind of put in a certain way that doesn't sound is racially motivated, is obviously what we're known to hear, the word that we're prone to hear and make us really all shocked to the core. But it's still, it's a way of being prejudiced towards someone in a way that kind of, especially someone that's biracial, a mix in a way, that's where it stems from, that's what they're trying to condemn in a negative way. And it's a kid, it's a young kid who's gone home, no idea what this means to him, but he knows it's something that he should not be called, and it takes his father to kind of post this protest, and especially from a teacher. I mean, don't even get me started. These are people that are supposed to be inspiring knowledge and wisdom to the kids, not be brandishing them with some sort of name.
Sure, the teacher should be fired. I think we need to disabuse ourselves of the notion that the classroom is a safe space, right? We hear that, and it's not true. Yeah. And disproportionately, right, students of color experience these instances of racialized verbal violence, right? And it's public, right? So it's all the more embarrassing and hurtful. And I think, like, thinking back even to the debate last night, right? Donald Trump indexing the term bad hombres, right? And these words kind of standing proxy for race, right? So mutt not necessarily being a racist term, but right, it's indexing race in a way that is negative, right? So it's just as harmful.
Do you think, okay, and you have every right to say I'm an asshole for asking this, but do you think he was trying to be cute? And by the way, there's nothing cute about, obviously...
it was a she.
Okay, there's nothing cute about segregating someone or isolating them from the rest of the classroom in this way by pointing them out, by pointing out their racial background. But do you think that this teacher was being genuinely racist, or was it unintentionally racist? Was it a microaggression, or is Mutt really, like, I don't know, I'm asking.
I think it's bullshit. I think there's no such thing as like gentle racism or or like accidental. I think you need to be careful about the words that you use. She used this word because implicitly or somewhere in the back of her mind, race was operating, right? To not say biracial, right? Or to index his race at all, right? Why does that matter in a classroom context?
Especially an 11-year-old boy. Like
in elementary school, why are you indexing race at all to categorize someone, right? So there are plenty of other ways that you can categorize students if necessary, right? This isn't the way. So I think it is harmful, and I think even if she was trying to be cute or funny, it was still racially motivated.
Yeah. Well, the only reason why I say that is because, ironically, every single person sitting here and every single person in the studio is a mutt.
Yeah.
In that sense, like, you're a mutt, you're Irish and Scottish. Yeah. I'm like 17 different, no, seriously, like I'm like 17 different ethnicities from the Middle East. Greek, Turkish, Arab, Kurdish, like all of that combined.
That's why your hair's so nice.
What? Oh, thank you. I don't feel that way at all about my hair, but like that's besides the point. And then also whenever you see like the future babies of the world, and it's always like this ethnically ambiguous Rashida Jones looking super sexy person usually, and that's where we're going as a society as we progress and integrate and mold into one being. So ironically, every single person, including that teacher herself, is probably a mutt. Yeah. That's kind of the reason why. And I also have a dog that's a mutt. So when I hear the term mutt, I don't instantly think like, oh, like they're being subjected. I would never use it against the person.
Dog, though, right? Like, and I
love, but I have a really positive feeling towards my mutt. That's why I was thinking like, oh.
I understand what you're saying, right? And this is allow me to go on a little bit of a rant to debunk what's going to happen in the comments. People are going to be, you're race baiting this. See, you're just turning everything racist, right? More often than not,
you read the comments.
It will be no, I understand. It will be white people, as I said before. It will be white people saying this who have no idea. No idea. I don't have an idea because it's bottom line. If someone called me a mutt, I just wouldn't. It wouldn't instinctively work to me as someone who's being racially prejudiced towards me. But see someone that has faced racial prejudice on a day-to-day basis, when you say something like that to them, it's immediately coming off of a tone that you're trying to insult them. You're trying to insult them based on their exterior, based on what they look like. No matter what, no matter whether everyone has a little bit of a different nationality in them, it's used as a negative connotation to replace the other more bold racial sort of phrasing that they want to go to. And do you know why it's normalized? Because all these thoughts are already in these people's heads. Don't think for a moment that this is just an instinctive response. Oh, I didn't mean it. No, people in their mind that racist values in this country is a severe problem, and they're still there. They've never left. And when you have a leader that's validating it and putting, again, I feel like I'm just on repeat. I should just press a button here being like, Donald Trump validates this, because it's true. When you have someone in charge that's validating these racial prejudices, you better believe that these things are coming up. A teacher, someone that you're expecting. I put so much faith in teachers. I've been influenced by so many teachers in my life. Some of the most important people that have guided me to where I am, both back in Scotland and here. I'm like, they're so influential of me. My parents, yes, but my teachers, because they have an important job to try and break these cultural expectations that everyone puts on people, these stereotypes. They have a job to do it. And calling a student a mutt, that's not how it's going to get done.
Sure, and I think for the dissenters in the comments who may be white, like you can revisit your recent history, right? That Irish people, right? That Italians, that people who are now categorized as white, right, weren't always considered pure, right? That's what mutt refers to, right? Is this
means
notion,
like not pure blood,
right? Right, which has links to eugenics, right, and all these other racist movements, right? Which is why this language is problematic. So I think you can reach back into your recent history to find a time when you weren't considered dominant, right? When you weren't considered normal.
The Young Turks isn't just us; it's also you guys. You make this show possible, and we want to thank you for it. And we want to grow together. We want to be too strong. tytnetwork.com/join. Let's do it.